Hello, I'm Joel, and this is my testimony. First back I can remember was being in Africa. Spent a lot of my childhood there. My parents were out there doing missionary work, but I was just out there enjoying myself. Didn't quite understand why I was there. Sitting under a tree for church seemed to be the norm. We came back to Warrington, and it was the standard to go to church on a Sunday and be praying regularly, although I didn't always enjoy it or want to go on a Sunday. The God I had been taught about and knew lots about meant nothing to me personally. When John started working at this church, it was around the same time I went to high school. An event called Unite was on every fourth Friday of the month. John put a letter out which mentioned a trip to McDonald's on the way, so I went along. Only me and Daniel showed up, and went, not gonna lie, mainly for the McDonald's, but I was overwhelmed by the worship and the talk. I hadn't been to anything like that for young people. It was just the Sunday services we'd been to. I continued to go to Unite, and a few months down the line there was a guy speaking, and I felt like I wanted to accept Jesus into my life. However, I carried on the usual, didn't really change myself or how I lived. Same thing happened at Soul Survivor and MCYC. I enjoyed the time there, felt like I connected with God. Yet I went home and life went to clockwork again, and never really thought about anything of the personal relationship I was in with Jesus. I felt like everything happened there. It was almost as if I was worshipping the event and the band instead of God. This year was a very significant year in my life. It was the one that impacted me the greatest. Everything around me started to fall apart, my family and some of my schoolwork. I had lost almost all my faith. I knew that what I was supposed to believe, and I'd stick up for it, and I knew I wanted to believe it. Yet I slipped into bad, sinful habits, watching things I shouldn't, doing things not Christ-like. I went to Soul and felt that everything I had known and did know, I now felt in my heart. I grew a lot in faith that week. I went to MCYC, which was a completely different environment, around 50 people, as opposed to the 15,000 people at Soul. Yet I felt God in the same way, if not a stronger way. Sarah did talk to us, and on reflection I got a picture. I know that it was from God to me and to everyone. A picture of a small child running into temptation and sin. However, behind him was God and Jesus, walking behind him the entire time, and all the child or we had to do is turn around and notice God, our Father, stood behind us, waiting to be noticed and give his son and daughter the chance to run into his arms and be forgiven, like a father forgives his son. This meant a lot to me because at the time I'd sinned, and I feel really bad and far away from God. This was God saying, "Don't worry, Joel, I'm right behind you. Just turn around, I forgive you." It had finally clicked. All my head knowledge had become into heart knowledge. 2 months back at Impact, John showed us a video. We'd seen it several times, but this time it had hit me. The video was images of Jesus being hung, with the song Amazing Love playing in the background. The lyrics and images hurt to watch that time, and I made a status on Facebook that night with the video attached to it. I used the verse, "If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness," which is from 1 John chapter 1 verse 9. I also used John 3:16. I realised that people weren't perfect. God's love is so out of this world that he forgives us for everything we do, will do and have done. This love is the most selfless gift given to people, and we didn't even deserve it. Because of that step of realisation that everything Jesus did was for me, in baptism I'm symboling the death of my old self and becoming renewed by the love and forgiving power of Jesus. That is why I want to get baptised.